By giving, people will be helping Nationwide Children's Hospital find cures, brighten patients' holidays, and people will be able to support their neighbors when they need it most. When they donate, they will activate in real time a butterfly-inspired light show for patients this holiday season. They will add holiday cheer to the lives of kids who really need a reason to smile. No one wants to think about their child being sick, but should that day come, the donation they make this year could help the care their child could need in the future. Please give now at nationwidechildrens.org/give.
Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Plus, when you sign up today with promo code OhioSB, you'll be all set for when FanDuel goes live in Ohio. Then you can bet on all your favorite teams and all your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Ohio, this is your chance to get in on the action. Join today with promo code OhioSB. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Ohio. Bonus issued in non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Ohio on 1/1/23. Unique user identity verification required. Offer ends on the go-live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You are listening to an entertainment program put together by a company called Financial Ineptitude. Anything said on this show is not an endorsement or professional advice. Would you really want to tell a court of law you were suing us because you thought taking financial advice from two idiots on a podcast put out by Financial Ineptitude was a good idea? Really? Clown hat, smiley face. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the China Shop, opening the doors for another special trading information episode. Eric is on his way to Vegas, so he won't be joining us today, but we have got Joe Cecala from the Dream Exchange here to kind of talk about some important news that they've got going on this week. Before we do that, though, let me just take a quick minute to say a thank you to our sponsors and friends over at Manscaped, Trade Pro, and Orderflow Labs. Manscaped is the best below-the-waist grooming with precision-engineered tools for your family jewels, and with the holidays coming up, now's the perfect time to take advantage of our exclusive offer of 20% off and free worldwide shipping using promo code 2bulls at manscaped.com. As always, that's the number 2. When it comes to institutional trading education, make sure you check out tradeproacademy.com, our free Discord server. You also find instructions to take advantage of a discount with them as well. And for those degenerates who enjoy trading futures, you'll definitely want to check out the custom tools and studies at orflowlabs.com. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, want to learn more about today's guests, you should check out the Dream Exchange. Joe, where's the link where they can find you?
DreamX.com is our website, DREAMEX.com.
Excellent. And if you've got any questions or corrections or suggestions for future guests, you can reach us at email at 2bulls@financialineptitude.com. You can join that free Discord server where a bunch of amazing people gather to share our struggles and lessons learned with other like-minded market aficionados. Be sure to put links for everything in the episode description. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk to today's special guest. Joe, what's the big news, or what's been going on since we last talked to you, actually?
Yeah, it's been a while, Kyle. Thank you for having me back. I mean, the big news, we just sent out our press release on the relationship that we've recently created with the Members Exchange.
Mm-hmm.
And a bit of a, I don't know, I'd call it an unprecedented development in exchange technology and marketplace, where Members Exchange has agreed, we've selected them to host certain technologies of our exchange. We expect to be getting our license application out the door soon and open this year. And Memex is just a really proven technology. They're the newest of the 7 major exchanges in the U.S. And we've been in a fairly lengthy, almost a year-long process in talks with Memex because we've done a lot of our own construction. And, financial technology has changed quite a bit since 27 years ago, I want to say, when I was when I was puttering around with the archipelago people, and the changes are so dramatic and significant. And what I think about the Members Exchanges, they're really doing it right. They have done an outstanding job of making the most simple order book and engine of the exchanges that are in the market today. I think it's evidence because they're being so successful. They only opened their exchange 2 years ago, and they were approaching 7% market share, which is quite an impressive feat. They're just a really quality trade execution environment, and they've got great technical people, and we're just having kind of a what I would call a bit of a love fest between DreamX and MEMX right now, because we're looking forward to enhancing. There's really kind of a synergistic. It's not my favorite word in the world, but
If
but
you're a CEO, you got to learn that word, right?
yeah, I'm learning that job. I'm learning that job slowly, but yeah, there's a tremendous compliment, I guess, because their technological approach, which is a really simple and compliant and proven set of technologies
Hmm.
that makes a trading environment for their members, just extraordinarily easy. And our compliment is, our concentration in the future will be on the IPO markets, and especially in formulating small cap listings, getting smaller cap companies back to the market.
So partnering with a exchange like Memex then is kind of a huge step into getting everything put together and opening the doors for your plans, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's a lot of our slows this past year have been certain decision making. I mean, a stock exchange is basically a set of rules by which the game of the buying and selling and trade matching of shares takes place.
Hmm.
And with this new relationship, we're going to be able to make some final decisions on our rule book. And once we've established how the trading operations and rules for the Dream Exchange will function, that will give us a green light on our licensing process with the SEC. I think the members exchange is really just doing an outstanding job of keeping investor protection compliance, having a simple environment, but also staying at kind of state of the art technology. We
Hmm.
really wanted to partner with their firm. Our technology people are second to none as well. Our CTO and our team of tech people are among the best in the industry as well. So some of the best of the industry trading technology people are now meeting to formulate really what the Dream Exchange will look like in the future. And that's really the focus, which is how do we streamline and take certain of the barriers of exchange membership, which really translates into the trading environment so that traders have an easier time executing their plans.
Hmm.
And when we take that and we add it to our plans for how to do capital formation activities with small cap companies, we're going to be quite formidable. I think that we're going to see a lot of activity in a market that really hasn't existed for close to 20 years. That's the main focus. The Dream Exchange, I mean, I don't know if everyone remembers, but our main focus is enhancing participation of the entrepreneurial or earlier stage companies. We are a minority owned exchange, the first one in the history of the country.
Yep.
And there's a segment of our country that are tremendously talented entrepreneurs with great ideas, and there's a very long timetable between early rounds of venture capital, later rounds of venture capital, and some private equity investing that stays out of the public markets. And what we want to do is offer those companies an opportunity to become part of the ecosystem so that trade speculators can get in earlier and look at the earlier stage companies and be able to do what was done in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, which was get in early on an IPO. You don't even hear that expression anymore.
Right.
As well as allow for healthy trade speculation in the small cap markets, which right now, small cap companies really don't have a plan of public company, capital formation.
I remember the last time we talked, and I'll make sure there's links for the previous discussion in the description here if anybody wants to follow up on that. But yeah, I remember a lot of the conversation was around the different paths that people have to becoming a publicly traded company, and really there's only like three, right? You have IPO, you have direct listing, and then you have SPAC.
Right. And today, I mean, I kind of predicted this. I don't remember what the timing of our last conversation was, but the SPAC market has proven to be fairly ineffective.
Yep.
In fact, coming up, we'll be having a white paper on the SPAC market and SPACs generally to both educate and inform, because I think there's a preconceived notion that, oh, SPAC is, I want to be public, so therefore I'll be a SPAC. It's actually the opposite mechanics, which is a SPAC is formed, the capital is raised, and then the management team looks for a company to acquire
Right.
by rule. So that's a difficult process for a company. They have to become the proverbial choice of the SPAC. And then, direct public listings are a new phenomena, which in the larger cap transactions are probably a lot more difficult. We like the large caps. We're not saying we're going to exclude large capital, billion or multi-billion dollar IPOs. It's just that in that marketplace, the necessity to have an investment bank and a book runner and, look, if you need $1 billion, there's not a lot of people in the Rolodex you can call.
Right.
So that's a healthy market for the unicorns and for more mature companies, because let's face it, the Morgan Stanleys and JP Morgans and Goldmans that are doing those transactions really do help capital markets by getting those companies to the public.
They certainly helped themselves along the way.
And let me say this, as a guy who's been in the capital markets for nearly 30 years, there's a bit of a lesson that I've learned, which is other people making money isn't offensive to me. So long as we're all able to participate and make some money and earn a living ourselves. So those markets they're good markets. What we're trying to do is expand the opportunity into a marketplace that has been underserved. So that therein lies the, smaller cap companies really don't have a go-to exchange, number one. And number two, there's a whole underserved set of communities, especially the Black community. We're finding that there are some really outstanding small companies that are minority owned that, no one's calling them. And now that we're there are many listings of those companies that will come to the marketplace, form capital, get secondary liquidity in a stock exchange environment, and really grow and be healthy, which makes the purpose of the exchange, our purposes are really to get increased participation in the capital market system of the country. And, the more the merrier, as long as there's an exchange there. I think,
Right.
listen, recently you can see, I don't know that we want to get into this on your show, but an unregulated marketplace that doesn't have trustworthy information and doesn't have a listing process for a company to go through a due diligence period and have people weighing in on the organic investment opportunity so that it's credible. Well, those markets they're very, very volatile and very risky. FTX failed in an unregulated environment. Like I said, that's a topic of an entire other show, but no regulation. Nobody's there regulating what those organizations are doing. And we're very different from that. We're a stock exchange that likes rules and regulations. We just want to make them easy to follow and easier to follow for small cap companies so that good, healthy, expandable companies can get to the American investing public and the trade speculating marketplace and increase the number of opportunities for people to make money.
So long term, then, is the goal to be like a stepping stone for like the bigger exchanges, or are you trying to carve out your own niche and grow it to maybe challenge those?
Well, no, I think it's much more the stepping stone environment. We actually talk about it in terms of an ecosystem
Hmm.
that, you can plant a lot of venture capital and angel investor seeds. Those companies that do well will grow. They reach a plateau where they need second, third round, or they need a private equity round, or they need more capital to fully expand.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, the marketplace does not entertain as an option those public offerings. At one time, I mean, if you go back we have a lot of research on this. There were, I don't want to say an average every year, because some years maybe it tanked, other years it was much higher, but there were 500-600 small cap IPOs every year for decades. And now, I mean, if there's 50 in a year, that's a banner year. Some years there have been, double digit. So,
Why do you think that is?
there's a lot of blame that has been placed on, companies don't want to go public because of the increased cost, and the regulatory environment is too onerous, and they don't want those rules and regulations put on them. That's actually quite wrong-headed. I think primarily, I don't want to say the only reason, but a primary reason is what we just talked about. Investment banks, stock exchanges generally, they make money on trading volume. Trade execution volume is the way exchanges make money. Being able to know that there's a contra side to the market, and always going to have a bid offer, so that lots of volume will be created, is why institutions and investment banks really want larger IPOs. It's a more broadly traded security.
Right.
So with the advent of high frequency trading and financial technologies, the amounts of money that can be made on $1 billion IPO over time really are geometrically more than a small cap IPO, but it costs the intermediaries and service providers pretty much the same amount to do a small cap IPO.
So it's kind of a not worth their time kind of thing.
Not worth their time. So what we're doing is we're formulating a way to make it worth everyone's time, so that intermediaries can make money. We can create a listing process that helps put transparency and investor protections in place and attract more of those small companies. And, we're interested. We're going to be a small exchange. So where, someone is approaching NYSE or NASDAQ, the interest at NASDAQ is higher in the large cap offerings because they have an enormous organization. So we're much smaller. We can be much more nimble. We don't have to, add a considerable amount of our own expense to formulating that market. And we can help middle market brokers and middle market investment banks, which there are fewer today. But we want to grow that market as well and help those folks, make more money. And then the other side to this is wealth creation and trade speculation, because, people have built.
Support for Two Bowls in a China Shop is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer to you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code 2BOWLS at manscaped.com. That's the number 2. And if my math is correct, that's about 14 million balls, and that's a lot of balls. I've tried beard trimmers in the past, but the electric pain of a trimmer catching the sensitive skin of my beanbag had turned me off grooming below the waist in the past. But after receiving the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped, my attitude towards below the waist grooming quickly changed. The Lawnmower 4.0's advanced skin-safe technology is a game-changer and quickly put all those old fears to rest. The cutting-edge ceramic blade really shined here, and I didn't experience any discomfort while mowing down a severely neglected and overgrown landscape. And trust me when I say this, but I gave this thing a workout. The 4000K LED spotlight is a great touch as well, especially when taking advantage of the fact that Lawnmower is waterproof. That's right, no more mess on the floor when you just use it in the shower. The Lawnmower really is the best ball trimmer I've ever come across. But the Performance Package 4.0 doesn't just come with the trimmer. It's jam-packed with goodies including Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Toner, a surprisingly high-quality pair of free boxer briefs, and my personal favorite, the Weed Whacker Nose and Ear Hair Trimmer. No longer do I have to resort to ripping out overgrown nose hairs with tweezers, and because the waterproof Weed Whacker also provides proprietary skin-safe technology that helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in my delicate nose holes, it's a much more pleasant experience than the old methods. And not only do you get that free pair of boxers, they also throw in a free travel bag to hold all that swag. It's time to take care of yourself, so go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with code 2BULLS. Trust me when I say this, fellas, your balls will thank you. I know mine did. So get 20% off and free shipping with code 2BULLS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code 2BULLS, and that's the number 2. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Built fortunes by correctly identifying what to invest in early. That's been the primary wealth creation mechanic of many of financial intermediaries and stockbrokers, throughout the last, 50 years.
Right.
It's been gone for close to 20 years. So when we do that, it opens a door, and there are a lot of people waiting to get through that door. So it's more ecosystem. It's a stepping stone in that the market doesn't really exist today.
Right.
So when we put that there, those companies can then be kind of cultivated in an exchange-friendly environment. And, we've been pushing hard to have the Main Street Growth Act legislation get, for the second time, unanimously through Congress. It went through in 2018.
I remember we talked about that, and then we never really heard what happened to it after the fact.
Yeah, so, talk about a, bizarre set of circumstances. The Main Street Growth Act creates venture exchanges, which are specifically designed for the small cap marketplace. In 2018, the bill passed both the House and the Senate unanimously. And then when they shut the government down at the end of the year, no legislation that had passed was able to go into the next Congress. So all the attached legislation to the final appropriations bill was tabled till future Congresses. And then we had COVID. And,
that's so frustrating.
Yeah. Oh my God. You have no idea.
Oh my God. So close.
Yeah. Talk about putting a pause in our business plan. But, now I think that the end of this year looks like there's a possibility that it will be included, perhaps remote, but it's still a possibility only because there just has not been a concentration. As Congresses shift, the concentration of the House of Representatives, certainly for the last 2 years, has been on consumer protections in banking and financial markets. So that concentration just hasn't allowed the Congress time to really include this bill. But it did get a hearing. It did go through the whole process again. There really isn't any opponents.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about it. You just got to wait for them to pass it.
Yeah, I think the next 2 years, it'll either pass. I think it's a matter of when the bill will pass rather than whether it will pass. And the nice thing about our new relationship as we move along with Memex, we're going to be formulating the graduation rules. So in other words, as companies, when the legislation passes, we're going to create that market. But we want the companies to be able to choose to graduate even in their earlier stages to the national exchange, which we'll be able to do now. So when we, shortly after we open, we're going to have listings available to much smaller companies. Even companies at the $50 million cap raise level will be eligible for our listing scheme. So that's going to happen no matter what happens with any legislation.
Okay.
But the legislation passing allows us to really dig deep with different types of protections for both the company and the investor, and do a venture IPO as little as, $15 or $20 million.
Oh.
And those are opportunities that give a bit of leverage to venture capitalists because maybe they want to commit, some portion of their VC fund and then enhance that with a venture offering, so they don't have to be the only VC in the deal.
Right.
They can also, it stops them from having to go syndicate to get additional money. So smaller venture capital funds will really be able to take great advantage of the venture market. And then they've got a liquidity market. In other words, the private company capital raising that goes on today, well, as soon as you make your private company investment, the first thing you learn is there's no secondary market.
Right. You're
You're
stuck
in.
with them. Yeah.
So the quality companies that will go through a fairly extensive, listing process with us will have a secondary market. They'll have liquidity. People can then make their $15 million investment, and when the company's worth $150 million, they can harvest some or none, and they can do so for any reason or no reason at all. It's a really nice free market system.
It shortens their timeline
Yep.
and allows them to be able to exit and redeploy into other things much, much easier, right?
And it leaves the company in the ecosystem
Right.
as a public company so that as it expands, we can graduate them.
Right.
So this is something that I'm approaching 60, so I hope I live long enough to see it to its full growth and maturity. But this is a brand new market that doesn't even exist today, that I think over the next 10-15 years is going to become a household way of doing things. I think that it's a household name will become venture exchanges, and I'm hoping Dream Exchange becomes a household name.
Well, I'm hoping we get you back on again when you get something. The next, what is the next big step? Actually, let me just ask you that before we finish up.
So now that we're collaborating and putting the exchange technology kind of in place, the next big date is when we file our Form 1 application, which we're expecting to do this spring. And then there'll be a period of time where the SEC has an opportunity to stress test and examine us. I think we're going to be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're at exchange opening. However, in between then, what we'll be doing is, and for your listeners, whoever contacts us, we're going to start a process in our kind of member service area where brokers and traders will be able to come to some symposiums we're going to hold next year
Oh,
and give us their thoughts on what would be optimal. And we're not going to assume that the rules of our IPO process are always right. We're going to listen to the audience of our customers, and not that everyone's going to come in and write our rules, but
right.
we want to be able to conduct some activities where the invitation for those who actually use the products will be considered as we formulate our next changes. So this coming year is going to be doing a lot of things like this to get the word out, to make sure that the market participants can actually see a little bit of what we intend to do and weigh in, and we can consider all the bright ideas for all aspects of the market, from the trade speculators to the VCs, to the investment banks, to even the retail investing market. We want to hear from the people so that we can make our exchange a people's exchange. And
I give you my thoughts already, and you're already doing the one thing I want, which is to have to, to enable access to everybody to some things like the IPOs. Every time I've tried to take part in any IPO that I've seen come up, I've never even gotten a whiff of a share.
yeah, getting in early is not even an expression anymore. Getting
No.
in after the fact is difficult.
Right.
Yeah. So that'll be part of the conversation that we're trying to forward, because like I said before, actually making it the people's exchange, and it's encouraging. I mean, I love what I do because, first of all, it's a real pleasure to begin this process and conversation in the Black community, because this isn't something that has been approached before. So there's tremendous ideas, and the companies and the ideas and the people that want to participate in the American capital system is huge, and it's being so well received. It's kind of like an idea whose time has come. So everyone gets to be at the table. When we started this process, I've been working at this formulation of where we are today for close to 14 years.
Hmm.
And about 5 years ago, we did some marketing surveys and some fairly broad surveys. And the number one word that came back from the surveys as to what was needed and wanted by the marketplace, from small cap companies to investors to VCs, the number one word was access, what you just said.
Yep, I believe that.
Yeah. So we want to have a venue that creates access, that opens opportunity. And not every trade is a winner. Not every company is becomes a multi-billion-dollar American fabric organization.
No, but I think what people want is just the ability to step up to the plate and take a shot.
Precisely. The
If you
fact
can't, yeah,
is,
if you can't even hold a bat, then I mean, how are you ever gonna
yep.
get a hit?
Well, you certainly will never find out your batting average.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and that is a extremely high priority for us, is paying careful attention to the fact that um, let the marketplace determine, in a free and open marketplace, what the best idea is and what the best mousetrap is, and the people who have those ideas should be rewarded.
Yeah,
And that's the goal of the Dream Exchange, is the reward ideas that are going to help us in the future. We don't want to lose the formulation of an idea that creates, the next cure for cancer, or the next, wireless technology, or those people that are inventing things all over our country in laboratories and, in technology rooms.
or even worse, that they don't have any way to capitalize on their ideas and end up having to sell it to somebody else who.
Yeah, then they're the ones who don't get rewarded for their idea, and
Yeah,
it goes big, or better yet, the idea is shelved, or it just never has any legs.
right, right. Ugh.
Um, yeah, so the access to the free marketplace of ideas, I think, is very much, communication technology is telling us this right now.
It's a hell of a goal that you've taken on. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, when I grew up, there were 5 TV channels, and that was
Right.
your choice. And most my kids don't even watch TV now. It's
No.
the Internet of Things has become the way we communicate. So we need to take a little bit of the adaptation of the free marketplace of communication, put it in the exchange environment, without losing sight of the fact that we need investor protection. We need a regulated marketplace. We need oversight to make sure that people are safe
Hmm.
in making their investments, and companies are safe so
Yeah.
they don't get ripped off.
Oh, Joe, this has been fascinating again, as always. I highly encourage everyone to check out the last conversation that we had, so they can kind of catch up and hear the full discussion that we had on the vision for the Dream Exchange. The website that people need to go and check out if they want to become members, DreamX, DreamEx.com. And it looks like there's links on the main page to join the movement or become a member if you just scroll around in there.
Yeah, right now it's a landing page. We have a more full website about to be launched in a couple of weeks, and there'll actually be ways in the full website to come in and directly communicate with our staff, and more information on who we are and what we're doing, and we'll be able to better route the interest and communications, especially if there's, the small brokers out there that are interested in becoming exchange members
Mhm.
in the future, and people who are out there doing the work of capital market liquidity creation. Those are folks we want to get over to our member services group and have a discussion as to what it's going to take to really trade in this market, not just as a retail trader, but how
Right.
can you participate and, participate making the market become a market.
Right, exactly. Well said, Joe. All right, well, sadly, folks, we've come to the end of our time here with Joe. But don't worry, there's plenty of other stuff you can check out. We've got the website that we mentioned. Looks like there's an email on here. Can I share that with everybody?
Yeah.
Info@dreamx.com.
Yep.
So if people have questions, feel free to use that to reach out and learn more about what you guys got going on there. And then we've also got the previous discussion that'll be linked in this episode description for everyone to check out there.
Kyle, you're awesome. Thank you so much for having me again.
No, thank you for setting this up, and thanks to Jane. Jane is really the unsung hero of this conversation because she's really kept the reminders coming to make sure that I got you back on here.
Yeah, Jane is super vigilant. In fact, and I've got Gus Tucker, my member services VP, reminding me December 16th, we're hosting a webinar.
Oh, excellent.
And so if everyone wants to come to the webinar, you can get it through our website. And we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about our Memex relationship and kind of do a bit of what we did today, explaining to people how the market will change. So that's another way to get in touch with us.
Oh, that's excellent. Any final thoughts you'd like to leave the listeners with, Joe, before we say goodbye?
No, and you know what? My team, I leave it out there. Please don't hesitate to talk to the team. We have really great people. I love my team of people. You mentioned Jane. Jane's actually born in Britain. I always tease. Once you meet Jane, you can't figure out how we actually won the Revolutionary War, because she's vigilant, to say the least. So yeah, I always like to encourage people to talk to our team. We have an amazing group of people, and don't be afraid to get in touch with us. And we answer transparently all the questions you may have, and start communicating with us so we can hear from you as the market.
And call your senators too and tell them to get moving on this this Main Street Growth Act.
Honestly, that's another, I don't want to forget it, but yeah, actually right now it is the Senate's job. We've heard that it's going to be in the appropriations bill this month. We'll see. But yeah, call your senators and tell them to put it in there.
Yeah. Let's make democracy work for us for a change.
Exactly.
All right, folks, we'll be back at you soon with another exciting episode. But until then, take care.
Two Bulls in a China Shop is an entertainment program, and all thoughts and opinions expressed in the show belong to the hosts and not of any company. They are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security or investment product. It is only intended to provide entertainment about stocks in the financial industry of trading. If you make trades based on what you hear in this show, you assume all risks for those trades.
By giving, people will be helping Nationwide Children's Hospital find cures, brighten patients' holidays, and people will be able to support their neighbors when they need it most. When they donate, they will activate in real time a butterfly-inspired light show for patients this holiday season. They will add holiday cheer to the lives of kids who really need a reason to smile. No one wants to think about their child being sick, but should that day come, the donation they make this year could help the care their child could need in the future. Please give now at nationwidechildrens.org/give.
This episode is brought to you by Zelle. Whenever you're sending money through an app or online, it's important to do it safely. Here are a few helpful tips. First, always make sure you know and trust the person you are sending money to. Second, confirm you have entered their contact details correctly. And finally, if you don't trust the person or your recipient is rushing you to send money right away, think twice before sending money through an app or online.